Strangulation. Attorney Zac Bailey with the Marc Lopez Law Firm to talk a little bit about what the charge of strangulation means here in Indiana and how someone can be charged with it. So, strangulation is a level 6 felony under most circumstances, but it can be upcharged to a level 5 felony if certain circumstances exist. We'll talk about both options. So, strangulation is where a person in a rude, angry, or insolent manner, so that rude, angry, or insolent, that language is also seen in battery, where battery, the charge is if you touch someone in a rude, insolent, or angry manner. So this is kind of the next step up of that. The same standard, rude, insolent, or angry, if they apply pressure to the throat or neck of another person. That's part one of it. Or if they obstruct the nose or mouth of another person. So not even strangulation as we typically think of it. If you just go obstruct someone's nose or mouth, that could also be strangulation. Or apply pressure to the torso of another person in their chest area. If you do one of those things in a manner that impedes the normal breathing or the blood circulation of the other person, then that is a level 6 felony. So people think of strangulation as something you see on TV where you're a long period of time maybe choking someone, something very serious, but it could be a short moment where your hand is on someone's neck or covering their mouth or anything like that, or you put pressure on their chest, maybe kneeling on them or something like that. That could be charged as strangulation if it's done in a rude, insolent, or angry manner and impedes their ability to breathe in any way. So that's the level 6 felony. But there's also a more serious level of strangulation charged as a level 5 felony. So for a level 6 felony, the maximum sentence is 2.5 years. For a level 5 felony, that jumps up to 6 years. So it's a much more serious charge. And we could see a level 5 felony for strangulation if one of two things exists at the time. So those two different paths to upfile to a level 5 felony are if the person who is the victim of the strangulation is pregnant and the person committing the strangulation knew they were pregnant, then that can be considered a level 5 felony. Or the other way is if the person charged with the strangulation has a prior conviction for strangulation, then the second offense is charged as a level 5 felony. So we see this sometimes with an OVWI case. If you have a prior OVWI case, the next one can be charged as a level 6 felony. We see it with theft. If you have a prior theft case, the next theft can be charged as a level 6 felony. We even see it with domestic battery, where maybe a first-time domestic battery is a misdemeanor, and if you commit a domestic battery against the same person again, it's upfiled to a felony. So that same kind of logic applies for the strangulation, where it's much more serious the second time around. So there are two types of strangulation. The first type is if you impede someone's breathing by touching either their throat or neck area, their mouth or nose, or their chest, that could be charged, or blood flow. It doesn't just have to be impeding their breathing. Impeding the circulation or blood flow could also be considered strangulation. That's a level 6 felony. It becomes a level 5 felony if the victim was pregnant and you knew they were pregnant, or if you have a prior conviction for strangulation. So we see strangulation oftentimes not as a standalone charge. It absolutely could be. If it's someone you don't know, you could be charged with just strangulation, probably also battery or something like that as a lesser charge. Typically, we see strangulation in a domestic violence type case. We see it very commonly there. But it's usually not charged alone, just because in the act of committing strangulation, you're likely also committing an act of battery or something along those lines. So we typically see a series of charges, but strangulation is oftentimes the most serious of those charges. So if you're facing strangulation charges, if you think you might be looking at strangulation charges in the future, give us a call because we can absolutely help out. 317-632-3642, and remember, always plead the 5th.